This message I'm about to share with you, if you're open to receive it, it's going to be able to bless your life and give you answers and encouragement and inspiration that you've been searching for. It doesn't matter how young you are and how maybe seasoned in years you might be. This is what many of you have desired and have searched for. I heard this story and I want to go and share it in my own words as I've been reading it, and it's been a blessing to me. It is a story that's been written back in the 1800s, and it's called Acres of Diamonds. You see, it starts off with there's this man named Mr. Conwell. Mr. Conwell was a lawyer. He ended up becoming a newspaper editor, and then later in life, he ended up becoming part of the church. He became a preacher. And now being a preacher, he ended up going and attaining the title of a person that gives great advice, a person that is trusted, and a person that people seek advice for. And then one night he was at the church and these young men came running in and Mr. Conwell, hey, can you please teach us? We want to be able to have that college level education. And Mr. Conwell, looking at them with great excitement because of what they desire, but also a little disappointed because he tells them, I'm a preacher. I'm not necessarily a professor that I can go and give you the education that they can teach you. Oh, please, Mr. Conwell, please. You're a very smart man. Please just help us out. Please, we can't afford to go to the college. Our parents don't have the money. And then Mr. Conwell looks at them and he says, I may not be able to teach you, but I promise I'm going to help you. And then as them getting all excited because they know he's a man of his word, they ended up leaving. And then Mr. Conwell begins to go to work with his mind. And Mr. Conwell begins to think, you know what? Why isn't there a really great college that is able to be open and free with a great education system to be able to be for these underprivileged boys that want and desire to have a higher level education, but they're just not able to get it because they don't have the money. And that is when Mr. Conwell came up with a great idea. You see, Mr. Conwell then went on to go and give over 6,000 lectures all around the United States. He ended up going and gaining over $7 million from these lectures. He ended up taking the money, investing it, and ended up turning it into the world's leading university. And it was all for the underprivileged kids that didn't have money to go to get the college level education that they such desired. And then it went on to bless many people after him. And the lecture is what I want to share with you right now. You see, it started off as there was this African farmer, and this African farmer was a wealthy man. And it said he was wealthy because he was content, and he was content because he was wealthy. And this man had all the things you could think of for a farm. He had the gardens, he had the animals, he had the trees, the fruits, all of it. And then one day a priest came to him, and a priest was talking to him and telling him how God formed the world, how God made this and God made that. And then he got all the way down to how even deep down how God created the diamonds. And this kind of struck the man's attention. And the priest said, if I only had a diamond the size of my thumb, I could buy this whole country. If I had a mass of diamonds, I could set up my family and my kids to be on thrones forever. And then the man began to think later at night in his bed. And when he was already content and wealthy, now he began to compare himself to others of things that he didn't have. And now he became discouraged. And he became wanting and desiring these diamonds. The next morning it says that he went to the priest and woke up the priest and says, where can I find these diamonds? And the priest said, what? He said, where can I find these diamonds? And the priest said, you just, wherever the mountains are high and the white sands and a river running between them, that's where you'll find them. And the man says, I've never seen such a thing. And the priest says, well, they're out there. And then the African farmer then begins to set route to find all of these diamonds. He ends up hearing about the plain where they all are. And then soon enough, the man sells his land and he goes to that plain, that big acreage of land where he wants to go and search for these diamonds. Long story short, the man gets to all of these acres, spends the rest of his life searching, exhausting all of his energy, all of his funds. And the man ends up broke. The man ends up with no diamonds. The man ends up completely exhausted. And a high tide comes in, and the man throws himself into the water and drowns by killing himself. And meanwhile, back at the land that the farmer sold, the new resident is there. He's walking through the farm one day, and his horse is getting a drink at the brook that they had, the stream of water running through. And while the horse was drinking, he looked down and they seen a bright light as the sun hit it. And he reached down into the water, and it was a black rock with a little shiny spot. And he said, well, that's weird. And then he took it back into the house and put it on his mantle. And then a few days later, that same priest came by to see him. And he walked in the house and he said, oh my gosh. He said, that's a diamond. He said, as the original farmer came back. And the new resident said, no, I haven't seen him since he sold me the place. Why? And he said, because that's a diamond. And that's what he went to search for. And then the man said, that's not a diamond. That's just a rock I found out back in the stream. And the priest said, no, I know a diamond when I see a diamond. And he picked it up and he said, where at in the stream did you find it? And the man said, I can show you. And they both got excited and ran out with shovels, and they began to scoop up the dirt and to move the sand. And every single shovel they pulled up was full of diamonds, full of precious stones in every upturn of the dirt. And they began to go and get more and more people in to help till up the land, and found out that there was diamonds completely under every surface of the ground that property sat on. And then this actual land ended up becoming known as the biggest diamond mine in the world that had ever been found. And it went on to amassing amounts of hundreds of millions of dollars. The moral of the story: the man that left to go search for something elsewhere, if he would have taken the time to find out what a diamond looked like in its rough stage, he would have realized the millions and millions of dollars and all of the desires that he was already on. A lot of people in life never take the time to critically think. They never take the time to look in and see what a diamond looks like in its rough stage. You see, when the diamond was pulled out, the diamond was covered in blackness. It was covered in dirt. It was covered in a lot of muck. The diamond ended up becoming what it was after it got worked on, after it got polished, after it got cleaned up. Every single person that has been through issues in life, that has been through tough times, that's been through homelessness, that's been through addiction, that's been through a divorce, that's been through any types of childhood trauma, pain, past hurt, or is going through a fight right now, you are literally just going through the pressing and the priming and the heat and the force that it takes to continue to create the diamond and bring it to its natural worth value state. You see, everybody has a mine of diamonds inside of them right now. It is your ideas, it is your gifts that God has already placed inside of you. And I'm going to tell you right now how you're able to figure out which one it is. It's the gifts, it's the ideas, it's the passion that you've had your entire life. It's the one that your friends and family tried to discourage you from. It's the one that when you go to sleep at night, you dream about, you daydream about, you think about. While you're at your current 9 to 5, you're sitting there fantasizing about this life of the things that you want to do. It's the ones that people say you're not qualified for. It's the ones that people say you could never do that. You don't have the education. You don't have the money. Where are you going to do that? Your daddy was just this. Your mama was just this. We came from this. It doesn't matter what they have said, because they have fallen into the actual cycle of what has been passed down for generations. But you have the ability to break generational curses. You have the ability and the choice to go and change the life that you were once living and figure out who you really were created to be and live it now. Your purpose in life, God gave it to us in 2 forms. Jesus told us that number 1, you must love God and serve him with everything in you. Number 2, you must love people put their interest above yours. So figure out a way with a pure intent heart how you can serve God with what you do and you can serve people with what you do. And when you do these two things and you build your philosophy, your business, your goals, your ideas around these, it's infallible information for you to have right now that you will inevitably be successful. You just have to have the right foundation. You have to have the right reasons. You have to be aligned with God if you want the full balance of life. I tell people you can be successful and a millionaire without God, but many people end up committing suicide who are millionaires and billionaires because they got rich on the outside, but they're poor on the inside. They amassed amounts of money that people can't even fathom in the banks and in their houses, but in their mind, they are still poor as the man down the street under the bridge. And the man under the bridge, many of times, if you go to those people, they are more rich on the inside than those rich men are in the bank. You see, you have the ability to receive every desire that you have in life. You have the gift that's already been given in you. You have to ask God, what is my gift? It may take 3 days. It may take 3 months. It may take a little bit shorter or a little bit longer than what you intend. But you've been going your whole life in a cycle. You've been going your whole life living the way you want to live. You've been going through your whole life doing what your mama and daddy told you to do, doing what grandma and grandpa told you to do. You never began to think for yourself yet. You've been spoon-fed your entire life on what the menu was that you were to eat. But it's time for you to eat. It's time for you to form and make the recipe. It's time for you to walk into success. And the only way you can do it is when you begin to search within and find those acres of diamonds that you already have in you. Everybody has been given great creative gifts. And you can only be the 100% successful self that you've been created to be when you walk in 100% authenticity you've been created to be. You have to be exactly who you are. Don't follow celebrities. Don't follow other musicians. Don't follow other successful people. Be a student of them, but walk in the genuineness that you are. Nothing is new under the sun but the ways that you do it. So if you walk around and try to imitate the Cardi B's and try to imitate the Steve Jobs and try to imitate all these other famous celebrities, you will only end up being a copy. You will never be an original. If you look at history and you look at all the success stories, the people who have amassed the most amount of success all have something original about them. And then every other follower that they have is trying to be like them. And that is how the crowd starts. But the person who stands outside the crowd is the one who makes it to the top. And then they will now have another crowd under them. Because anything that comes out that is different ends up having a mass following because people want to be different. But they're afraid to be different themselves. So they'd rather follow somebody else that's different until once again it forms with a huge group that is now following that same person that finally stepped out and chose to be themselves. The only way you're going to be different and successful in life is when you begin to walk in exactly who you are. Don't be afraid or ashamed of your story or your past. These people can't do you like you do you. Only you can. So if you walk in the ways of who you've been created to be, you are unashamedly exactly who you are. You are aligned with God. You follow the rules that Jesus laid out for us. You go against the grain and you break the generational curses and you go out and you break off the conformity that you have fallen into that you didn't even realize, and you will find the acres of diamonds that is already inside of you, and you will be successful. You find the need of others with a pure intent heart of wanting to help them, and money will find you. If you chase after money, money will fly and flee away from you. Listen to me. You want the balance of life. You want the free that God gives you. You want the peace. You want the love. You want the contentment. You want to be in harmony with God. You want salvation. You want all the things that God gives. And then you want the mass amounts of money. So then your mind is aligned to do great things with the money, and you don't fall in love with money. Money can do great, amazing things. But when you're idle and all you do it for is the money, that's when you're going to find yourself in trouble. But when you love people and you love what you do, money will come, and then you continue to bless and give your overflow to others. Don't give up on your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. Don't give up on your passions. Follow them. They are a roadmap. They are a guide to get you to where God has called you to be, to reach the most amount of people in your life. I'm telling you this right now. You never want to go outside and conform to anybody else's dream and give up your own. Because your dream is more than just visions that you keep having. Your dream is literally your reality inside of you fighting to break out. You can do it, but you can't have the change you want until you change yourself. You got to take control. Let's go.